PJNet Live, Tuesday night, Dell Didway. Our brand new server is up. We are recording. We are streaming live to YouTube. It is in sync. Cameras are rolling. Dell Didway bumper is rolling. Dell standing by in the green room. We'll go to Studio 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I can honestly tell you it is great to be back. For those of you that were here last night, things did not go as planned. But praise God, thank you, Lord, that everything seems to be okay now. Last night was tough. Thank you all for your patience. Sorry we didn't get to hear from Andy Clapp. We had a great pep talk lined up, but you know what? We'll do it again. But tonight we have Dell Didway, and Dell is standing by in our green room. And let's see, Dell, let's get right to the thing you want to talk about. You've got a brand new book launched today. Then we'll get to your blog. We normally start with your blog, but I know you're not thinking about anything else.
Oh well, yeah, we're thankful. We're happy this book finally got out in the market today. We had some technical issues, as you well know about last night. So we had some delays, but you know, timing works out for everything, and there's a reason it was delayed. So it's been out last year at this time, and we had some problems, so we delayed it. But I had two other launches, this year, so we didn't want to, take away from them. Yeah. Because we worked hard for those. So we figured out a good time, and it launched today. I think I showed it last week, the Bingo Believer. Oops, dropped it. Bingo Believer 40 Who Day Devotions, which I kind of like that title. Who Day, because they're the Who Day.
That's a big book.
Singular.
Big book.
It's a big book. It is.
Yeah.
It's,
look at First Down Devotions compared to it. Look at that.
Yeah, I was on a show. First Down is about 33,000 words. Bingo Believers about 43,000 words. I really like them all, but I really like this. The way it just flowed real well. I just liked it, and we're happy with it. The Morris Crawford, the team chaplain for the Bengals, wrote the foreword in it. Andy Dalton's parents were gracious enough, Tina and Greg Dalton, to write an endorsement for it. And,
oh wow!
Yeah, they're good people. We've met them, and so we're happy it's out today. People could find it on Amazon. They can find it at Burnett Young Books, and so we can find it on my website. But we're happy with it. The Bingo Believer, 40 Who Day Devotions for the Cincinnati Fanatics, and by their start of the season, they really need prayer. So maybe this will help a little bit.
0-4, yeah.
0-4, baby.
Maybe the book will be a winner.
I hope so. So last night, I had a little bit of hope they might pull it out last night with the backup quarterback with Roethlisberger after the season, but they just got shellacked. So we'll be down there Sunday. It probably won't be well.
Folks, get used to new book launches because, Dell, what do you got? Six more in the coming 2 years? Something like that?
I have one in November. This will be 4 this year. And then we have 3 already planned for next year. I just sent in the manuscript today for next year for the Auburn book. So we're going to have a Michigan
Which is 2 books, isn't it?
book.
Isn't that 2 books?
It's an Alabama book and an Auburn book. We're going to release them together at the same time because that's a big rivalry, Auburn, Alabama. So we're going to release two devotionals at the same time, right before college football season next year. Mm-hmm. So I sent the Auburn one in today. We have the Michigan book will launch next year. The Auburn and Alabama books will launch next year. Then in 2021, we have First Down and Dugout Devotions 2. Mm-hmm. And the book Michelle Melnick Adams and I wrote together about Indiana basketball will be out in 2021. So I have 6 launches over the next 2 years. And we just got a couple other. Was talking to my agent today about something that's really exciting that I'll share later, but something really big could happen.
Yeah, every week you have some kind of teaser. You realize that?
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to keep wanting more.
Dell, you have a little bit of background in radio. Radio is where I learned the art of teasing.
Oh, you have to.
dropping.
I
Yeah,
love radio.
it's I know, isn't it great?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your blog a bit because
Yeah.
I have a story that I could tell. I paid my way through college in part working at a radio station, two of them
Yeah.
actually. I was certainly not living for the kingdom in those days, Dale. But looking back on it, God was preparing me for something.
Yeah.
And your blog today is focused on a topic just like that.
Yeah, yeah, Ben Utek. I mean, he had a great career, and I mean, he had a good career in the NFL. It was good, dependable tight end for the Colts. Won a title with Peyton Manning with the Colts, but had a lot of head injuries and a lot of concussions, and so he told me of the Super Bowl. He said that his first love was music. He loved music, but he never pursued it, even though he really loved it because he's a big guy, athletic, and had always scholarships and of course drafted. So he went that way, but always loved music. And so I guess through his injuries, God provided a way for him to eventually sing. So he thought, had he not played professional football, had he not gone to Indianapolis, he would have not been invited to sing in this youth outing where Sandy Patty, who's obviously a well-known singer, was there, not by chance, happened to hear him sing, approached him, and introduced him to Bill Gaither. And so, voila, and his singing career took off after he retired from all those head injuries. And so, it's kind of like my story as well. I was almost middle-aged before I even thought about writing a book. And it was, come out of my sister-in-law's, tragic ending of her life. And so that led me to a manuscript, which led me to meet Michelle, which led me to meet Kyle, which everything just really, you can't understand why certain things happen, but it's all happened, and we're on this roller coaster, so we're having a good time. But you all have to just don't question things and say, if you want to do something and it's not happening, just wait, because you're being prepared somehow. I think all those years I was a writer and in broadcasting and media and sales has all developed to where I am now, because I use all those skills now, and it's just a lot of fun right now.
Well, and look at what you're doing on Friday night.
yeah, that's always a blast, and that's starting to turn into something we didn't expect, and I can share more of that later. But there's going to be some fun things come out of that, and doing Friday night football games, and we're getting a lot of good feedback on those. It's a lot of fun. So it's a low power station, but they're getting some more power to them, and hey, who knows what can happen down the road.
Well, the terrestrial audience is no longer the limit, and that's
right.
The good news. In the old days, it was. That was it.
Yeah, because this is on the web, and a lot of folks can tune in. They can be in California.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Becky Lindsay can jump on 98.3 WPAY and listen to me broadcast the game.
Yeah.
So from California.
Yeah.
So
in the broad daylight, you're under the Friday night lights, and she's watching the sunset. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So that's an amazing capability, and we're having a lot of fun with that. And again, things I'm not set out to do. Some things could happen, so I'm just being patient and waiting to see where this ride goes.
Well, Del, in kind of prepping for what we're going to talk tonight, I read your blog, and I thought, so many people are in dead-end jobs that they hate. They literally just dread going to work every day. From the time they get there, they're just counting the hours and the minutes to the time they clock out. And it's a miserable existence. And then there's basically two ways of looking at that spiritually. One, you've already kind of opened, saying that, well, maybe God's preparing you for something.
Right.
But I think that if you consider that as a spiritual guide, you have to have some forward vision, and it's going to take some faith. And you can't just say, well, God, I'll do this. I think God expects us to reach out and press ourselves.
Yeah, I think I pointed out part of that in my post is, if you have a desire to do something, there's nothing wrong with asking God to provide a way. Just don't try to make it yourself. Be patient, wait for it to happen, because I think it'll happen. Because Ben had that feeling. He said, "I always loved music," but then eventually God provided a way for him to have a music ministry. So he didn't start out and try to make it happen, because I think if you try to make it happen, if I try to make things happen, it typically doesn't happen. So, but if the desire's there and you seek out God and you ask him, "Hey, provide a way for me," I think first thing you have to do is be patient and wait, which is the hardest thing I have to do is wait, because I don't like to wait on anything, and I've had to. So the hardest thing we have to do in this writing industry is wait. And boy, I tell you, I just don't like it. And so I like to, if I send out a text to somebody, because typically I respond. It may not be it'll be days, or if I'll leave a message, it'll be days.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't operate that way.
Yeah.
So, but that's just, I'm finding out that, by God, this is the way it is in this writing world, writing industry. You could submit a proposal and it'll be months before you hear back, and I just don't feel that way.
That's
but I'm learning. That's just the way it is. And so with everybody, I'm like, my gosh, folks, move. So I'm having to wait, and then I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting it to happen. Again, if I got to get out of the way for it to happen, and it eventually will happen. I mean, I beat this dead horse. The story about how Dugout Devotions came about. We were ready to go. I was trying to make it happen, and then lo and behold, a year later, New Hope Publishers comes along, and they love the idea. So I had to wait a year when it was done. So wait, and that's the hardest. But expect it to happen. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know who or when, but we knew it was going to happen. So expect it and be patient.
I think for most people, if there's one verse, and your blog pointed to a different verse, but the one that keeps coming to my mind is Jeremiah 29:11. And anytime I get feeling like I'm dead-ended, and most people, Dale, are about 10 days away from being absolutely broke.
Yeah.
If they lost their job, I mean, I just can't believe, after reading Jeremiah 29:11, that God has called us to serial defeat after defeat after defeat, and we're just supposed to take it so that someday that we'll pay bills and die, and then have happiness forever and ever in heaven. I think there is fulfillment here on earth, and as I read Jeremiah 29:11, I have to just remind myself it's either true or it's not. If it is true, then good. Get off your butt, quit wallowing in self-pity, and do something. If you're going to pray for rain, get an umbrella.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to, back in the days of, in sales, you go out and prepare yourself. If you set a goal and you back that out into smaller goals, step by step. But you really got to be in tune with God, because you might be in what I consider myself in an assignment. This is what God's assigned me to do for right now.
Right.
But what's after that?
Right.
That's what keeps you going.
Yeah, and again, I had no envisions of writing books 10 years ago when I was, doing my job in pharmaceutical sales. I was just making a lot of money and doing nothing. And I knew I had this emptiness in me. I knew I had this area that was unfulfilled, but I was making a lot of money. I thought, hey, this is great. And then trying to find ways to spend it, trying to find things to do to satisfy, what I thought was what I wanted. And turns out it's not. Turns out that, all these things, all these circumstances led to me now starting this journey. And I don't want that money anymore. I really don't. I don't care. I could care less. I mean, I have to pay my bills. I understand that, but I'm going down a different path right now.
I can relate. I saw something on social media that really struck me. It's not about the income; it's about the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're both important. I mean, you have to pay your bills, and you have to make your obligations, which I do, and I'm going to continue to do, because I'm not going to just let that go. But my focus isn't anymore on winning the sales awards and making money for other people anymore. So, when I was introduced to this world 4 years ago, everything's changed and my perspectives have changed. And again, but I think all those years in the media and in sales has combined for what I'm doing now, because, part of the book industry is sales. And you have to learn how to close the deals, and you got to learn how to sell your book, and you got to learn how to approach other publishers. So I think all that training has led me to what I'm doing now. And you have to self-promote. I'm not an egotistical person by any means, but you have to self-promote yourself because nobody else is going to. And I'm trying to do it in a tasteful way and in a humble way. I'm trying to promote myself in a humble way, if that's possible. So, and you do that by sharing other posts. You share it by lifting others up.
Yep.
And that was something I was taught at one of my first conferences. For every time I share a post about myself, I'm going to share 5 other posts for other people. I was on tweeting, retweeting. Michelle's has a book launch today too. Her and Bethany. So I was on promoting theirs. I was promoting some other friends of mine. So I'm always trying to promote them, and then they in turn will promote you as well. So it's lifting others up, and not lifting
there's more
yourself
credibility.
Up. Exactly.
When someone else promotes your book, of course you're going to promote your book. You love your book. You wrote your book, but you're not buying your book. Okay, it's what,
giving it away. Yeah.
Let me go to the chat room a minute. It's really kind of happening. There's somebody talking about NC State. Doug. No, that's
Doug.
Doug. Yeah, sorry, Doug.
That's all right.
This is not them in the Tammy. New International Version, Psalm 27, 13, and 14. I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. Good stuff.
Wait, yes.
Yeah, wait.
But it's hard to wait sometimes, and it's
well.
hard
I like
not
to be doing something while
happen.
I'm waiting. I want to do something while I'm waiting.
Yeah, and in that case, you could go. You work at a homeless shelter. Go donate time at a go visit somebody in the hospital. You can still do something while you're waiting, but always move forward.
Yeah. Dell, I was thinking about something when you were talking earlier, and try to be just honest. I mean, really try to. How much? Hard for me. I know. How much? Okay, in any performing industry, let's look at music. If you're composing music, how much influence in the composition of that music is how many of these can I sell? When you're writing a book, surely the same thoughts enter your mind.
Well, that's the first thing the publisher is going to ask you. How many books can you sell? It may be the greatest book sent from God, and they're going to ask you that question.
So how do you reconcile that?
Just to be honest with them, I mean, when we were pitching first Dugout Devotions to the one publishing company, we got on a conference call, Kyle and I did, and man, he was excited. He sent me a text, "Hey, we're going to get a contract." They said, "Can you sell 5,000 copies?" Well, sure I can. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, I just will. Because I just will. But they want to know how, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it." And they didn't go with us. So So it's all about sales. It's a business, and it could be the greatest story on earth. But if you can't sell it, then they're not going to do business with you. Even though they're Christian writing business, it's a business. New Hope had to, New Hope's been awesome with me, but their goal was for me for Dugout was to hit 5,000. I think we've hit that.
Okay. Well, you gave a great answer to a question I didn't ask. Let me repeat the question. As you're writing,
yeah,
how much influence does it have on what you write?
Oh, as I'm writing?
Yes.
0.
Well, that's the correct answer, I think. Spiritually,
it has nothing to. It never comes to my mind.
I commend you. I mean, I've worked in radio. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're going to produce a piece of music that's going to sell, that piece of music on a rock station better be about 3.5 minutes. and it better have about 18 to 20 seconds of intro time, and it better not have a cold ending. It better have it better not even have a cold fade. It needs to fade out so that it can be segued with a lot of other songs. So I'm wondering, as artists, which writing is an art, I wonder how much of those thoughts, I'm going to use the word contaminate. Would you think that's the right word? Contaminate what gets written? Not in your case necessarily, but
yeah, I don't know, because I just know what I deal with. I'm not sitting as I'm writing thinking, how many words is it going to be? Is this going to be able to sell? That comes afterwards. That comes later. That comes during the contracts, and that comes during the proposal time. I write it, and then we readjust it later. But when I'm writing that comes in my mind at all.
All right. Well, you've dealt with more and more publishers. You're starting to understand what they're looking for, what they're expecting, what they're going to ask. Does that influence your writing?
No.
You're the man.
Not at all. No. Because somebody's going to want it. And if I write something, I think, hey, I don't write it for a publisher. And so we write it, then we find out what publisher this would fit with. That's what we do. So, yeah.
I think the approach is very commendable, especially when you're writing faith-based material. I think you should write what God puts on your heart. Now, in a secular market, I can see compromise. I can see that more likely.
Well, we're dealing with a couple of secular publishers, and we're in talks with them right now as well. I was on the phone the other day with one, pitching an idea that she really likes. And once I get some free time, we're going to be able to hit that one. So she wants it, and it's just, I told her, hey, I'm a year out before I can start writing this book. And she said, well, just call me. She said, just have Kyle call me. So we talked. She likes it. We're going to go with it. And she was laying out what she wants. But then when I write it, I don't think, I'll just call her Tammy for some reason. Her name's not Tammy. But I was thinking, is this what Tammy wants? I don't think that way. I just write it. And then let their editors mold it how they want it at that point.
Have at it.
Yeah, I don't ever think about that.
I appreciate you sharing it, Dale. I mean, I know it's kind of a pointed question, but I'm curious. Because you see these, and folks, I realize we're a little over time. Okay.
Oh wow!
I get
it is fast. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We got kind of deep
right.
there. But I think for Christian writers, I think the Holy Spirit needs to be your guide, not the publisher, not anticipated sales.
And the same thing goes to like contests. I mean, I've entered contests, and there's something I don't know how it's not won. I mean, there's something I've entered 5 times, and it's probably the best thing, in my opinion, I've ever written. They hadn't won anything, but and I've entered these other things, and it's won like first place. I'm like, really? And this didn't, so I don't understand that either. So I don't write to win something either. I'll read it and I'll enter a contest, and but that's not why I write it. That's okay if you win a contest. But.
All right. Well, folks, we went over, but that's okay. Our server's working. We have to make up for all the time we weren't on the air last night. Okay.
Hey, if there's anybody out there who's looking for a conference to go to, the Ohio Christian Writers Conference right around the corner, first weekend of November up in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to have a good time, and we're making some arrangements today with some folks, getting some food comped. We're going to be having have a nice lunch, and so we'll be celebrating up there too. So we're looking forward to that conference.
I love this. Rachel Colby, do the work, but trust God to open the doors for you, from Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. Love the chat room, folks. It's good. Y'all are good.
Rachel's great.
I was just talking by the way, we're making arrangements for a guest tomorrow night. I was talking to her, and I said, this is a platform, as far as I can tell, unlike any other, where the audience in the chat room actually is involved in the program. It's really nice. So, well, Dale, I gotta try to
make a couple of nights because I've just been swamped. We're leaving tomorrow for a couple of days. I need to get away. I really need to get away and empty my head out a little bit. So, because I'll come back and go jump into the Bengals game, and I'll start a new job, and then I got to go to Los Angeles. Oh my Lord, I got to go out to Hollywood. and I got to get all my shots before I go out there.
You're a rock star, Dale. You're the man. Oh, more quotes from the chat room. There is so much in writing that is out of your control, but none of it is out of God's control. Will you keep writing, keep learning, and persevere through rejection?
Oh, rejection! Oh, don't get me started on rejection. Rejection. You have to love rejection. You have to just say, okay, it's a numbers game. It all comes down just like sales. You go out there 15 times on that, you're going to finally get that yes. It's just a numbers game.
But it's hard not to take it personal. This is your personal work. You
can't take it personal.
But
you can't take it personal. I never take it personal. I just think, and I've been rejected. I just think of it just like first down dugout devotions got rejected. And I just thought, they're going to be sorry, because somebody's going to get this. And by golly, they are, because it's doing it now. I have volumes 2. This one publisher missed out. So I don't look at it as rejection. I look at it like, hey, they really messed the boat. So
massive success is the ultimate revenge.
Okay. Exactly. So you're gonna get it. I never ever take rejection personally. I never do. I've been in sales long enough to realize that it's not personal.
All right, folks, we're going 30 minutes tonight.
I know the person rejecting is clueless. That's how I look at it. They don't know what they're missing.
I'm gonna be getting with I'm going up to North Carolina in 2 weeks to meet with Andy Clapp, and one of the things he told me, I haven't had this conversation with him, but one of the things he told me when he was first starting in the ministry is he was at one of these pastor conference retreat, one of these things, and somebody, he said, told him that in order to be a big time pastor, you had to be a CEO, and manage an enterprise. And he summarily rejected that and said, well, I guess Jesus didn't call me to be a big time pastor. Well, folks, we have some plans for pjnet.tv. And they're big plans. One of the things I'm going to ask Andy when I get up there, I said, do you remember that you told me that? I said, do you know who that guy is? I want to go size him up, because I intend to beat him.
Exactly.
Now, that may just be the flesh in me, the coach, the competitor, the gladiator, whatever, alpha male testosterone poisoning, but it does motivate me. Yeah. It really does.
It motivates you. And then, and every writer wants that big break, right? They all want that big contract. And so, but I haven't been pushing that. I have been talking about that. I'm just thinking, I'm paying my dues. I'm one of those guys that pays your dues. You do the right things, you help other people, and then eventually something will happen. And, the call I got yesterday and today could be that launching thing for me. So I'm not anticipating that, but it very well could. I was talking to Kyle yesterday about it and today, and he was like, this could really be an awesome opportunity for you. So we're going to be in talks over the next couple of days with something that could be really, really big. So we're excited about it.
Well, Dale, charge your batteries. And
I need to.
Yeah, well, you look pretty good. You sound great, and you're just experiencing the blessings of paying your dues. But you can't. The funny thing is winners, we can't rest on that.
No.
It's like a football game,
If this doesn't happen, you know what? Then I learned just like Ben Utek. Hey, you just go on.
Yeah.
And something else will happen later on down the road. So stay positive and never ever take rejection personal. So I learned that because Nora Jones has turned me down several times. I don't take it personal. So she'll come around one of these days.
Mm-hmm. We'll send her this video. All right, well, Dale, get some rest, bud. I can't wait to hear from you next week, and we got a lot of big things in the planning. So you keep going.
I know it's exciting.
We are.
Keep me in the loop, and we're going to be involved in that.
All right, Dale. Appreciate you, brother. All right, that was Dale. Okay, we went over. It's okay. We had to make up for not being on the air last night, folks. I would love to tell you more, but we have gone over, so I'll save all the exciting news for tomorrow night. I am working on a live guest. Michelle will be with us tomorrow night. Hopefully, if she has reception. She seems to go to these places where there is none. She'll be here about this time tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern. But I am in conversation with somebody I met at the North Carolina Christian Writers Conference, and we're hoping that she'll be on board about 9 o'clock tomorrow. So until then, we will turn it back over to our capable video host for tonight as PJNet Live continues.